Vitamin D health benefits. Vitamin D directs the measure of calcium and phosphate in the body. These supplements are expected to keep bones, teeth and muscles solid. An absence of vitamin D can prompt bone disfigurements like rickets in youngsters, and bone torment brought about by a condition called osteomalacia in grown-ups. If this video is of any value to you, please like and subscribe to this channel. Accept vitamin D as you may have been inside more than expected for this present year. You should take 10 micrograms, 400 IU, of vitamin D daily among October and early March to keep your bones and muscles sound. Vitamin D and the coronavirus, COVID-19. There have been reports about vitamin D lessening the danger of COVID-19. Great wellsprings of vitamin D. From about late March, early April to the furthest limit of September, a great many people ought to have the option to make all the vitamin D they need from daylight. The body makes vitamin D from direct daylight on the skin when outside. In any case, among October and early March we don't make sufficient vitamin D from daylight. Peruse more about vitamin D and daylight. Vitamin D is additionally found in few food varieties. Sources include fatty fish, like salmon, sardines, herring and mackerel. Red meat. Liver. Egg yolks. Braced food varieties, for example, some fat spreads and breakfast oats. Another wellspring of vitamin D is dietary enhancements. Cow's milk is for the most part not a decent wellspring of vitamin D since it's anything but strengthened, all things considered in some different nations. What amount of vitamin D is required? From about late March, early April to the furthest limit of September, most of individuals ought to have the option to make all the vitamin D they need from daylight on their skin. Kids from the age of 1 year and grown-ups need 10 micrograms of vitamin D daily. This incorporates pregnant and breastfeeding ladies, and individuals in danger of vitamin D insufficiency. Children up to the age of 1 year need 8.5 to 10 micrograms of vitamin D daily. A microgram is multiple times less than a milligram mg. The word microgram is in some cases composed with the Greek image mu followed by the letter g, μg. In some cases the measure of vitamin D is communicated as international units, IU. 1 microgram of vitamin D is equivalent to 40 IU. So 10 micrograms of nutrient D is equivalent to 400 IU. Would it be advisable for me to take a vitamin D enhancement? Guidance for grown-ups and kids more than 4 years of age. During the harvest time and winter, you need to get vitamin D from your eating regimen in light of the fact that the sun isn't sufficient for the body to make vitamin D. However, since it's hard for individuals to get sufficient vitamin D from food alone, everybody, counting pregnant and breastfeeding women, ought to consider taking a day-by-day supplement containing 10 micrograms of vitamin D during the pre-winter and winter. Between late March, early April to the furthest limit of September, the vast majority can make all the vitamin D they need through daylight on their skin and from a decent eating routine. You may decide not to take a vitamin D enhancement during these months. Individuals in danger of vitamin D inadequacy. A few group won't make sufficient vitamin D from daylight since they have next to no or no daylight openness. The Department of Health and Social Care suggests that you take an everyday supplement containing 10 micrograms of vitamin D consistently in the event that you are not regularly outside, for instance, in case you're slight or housebound. Are in an establishment like a consideration home. Generally wear garments that concealment the vast majority of your skin when outside. If you have a darker complexion, for instance you have an African, Caribbean or South Asian foundation, you may likewise not make sufficient vitamin D from daylight. You ought to consider taking an everyday supplement containing 10 micrograms of vitamin D consistently. Guidance for babies and little youngsters. The Department of Health and Social Care prescribes that infants from birth to 1 year old enough ought to have an everyday supplement containing 8.5 to 10 micrograms of vitamin D consistently on the off chance that they are breastfed. Equation took care of and are having under 500 milliliters, about a 16 ounces, of newborn child recipe daily, as baby recipe is as of now invigorated with vitamin D. Youngsters matured 1 to 4 years of age ought to be given an everyday supplement containing 10 micrograms of vitamin D. You can purchase nutrient D enhancements or nutrient drops containing vitamin D, for under 5s, and no more drugstores and grocery stores. Ladies and kids who meet all requirements for the Healthy Start plan can get free enhancements containing vitamin D. See the Healthy Start site for more data. What occurs on the off chance that I take an excessive amount of vitamin D? Taking an excessive number of vitamin D enhancements throughout a significant stretch of time can cause a lot of calcium to develop in the body, hypercalcemia. This can debilitate the bones and harm the kidneys and the heart. In the event that you decide to take vitamin D enhancements, 10 micrograms daily will be sufficient for the vast majority. Try not to take in excess of 100 micrograms, 4,000 IU, of vitamin D daily, as it very well may be unsafe. This applies to grown-ups, including pregnant and breastfeeding ladies and the old, and youngsters matured 11 to 17 years. Kids matured 1 to 10 years ought not have in excess of 50 micrograms, 2,000 IU, a day. Babies under a year ought not have in excess of 25 micrograms, 1,000 IU, a day. A few group have ailments that mean they will most likely be unable to securely take so a lot. If all else fails, you ought to counsel your physician. You can't ingest too much of nutrient D through openness to daylight. However, consistently make sure to conceal or secure your skin in case you're out in the sun for significant stretches to diminish the danger of skin harm and skin malignancy. If you have any worries or questions about your health, please consult your physician. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos.